Morning, everyone. This is the August 16th Jupyter IPython dev meeting, and as usual, the notes are on the hackpad. We're now using the standard channel for reference. This is going to be we now have a project-wide account for these meetings, so the URL will stop changing week to week. And let's see, the first person that is present is Stephen, because Carol is not making it in person, so she left her notes. Steve, go ahead. Is there anything that you want to bring group-wide?
No, just to say that the Jupyter Lab presentation I gave in Atlanta was very well received. Lots of great feedback. A dozen hands shot up in the end. A lot of great enthusiastic feedback and suggestions. So that was a fun time. Thanks to Nick and Tony for setting that up. And there's an open issue I linked in the hackpad, how to enable third-party extensions. It was great to work with Nick Friday afternoon last week, use his experience in creating notebook extensions to get us a lot further down the path than I was going in on how to do lab extensions. So I'm going to carry that baton this week, try to get something working. So any feedback is appreciated on that.
Do you have a couple of kind of reference extensions that you're using to start hashing out the implementation? Yes.
What we created last week was a script that resides in Jupyter Lab that helps make this possible, and also a fork of Sylvan's widget cookie cutter template that uses that script to generate the right content. And basically, I'm going to take those two pieces and update the Webpack build of Jupyter Lab, the Jupyter Lab extension itself, and then carry that forward to Jupyter.js widgets, and then the real test will be BQplot, to have something that depends on another extension. So once that's done, I think I'll update that cookie cutter, and we'll have a good template, there'll be a generic cookie cutter and one that's specifically for widgets as the outcome.
Good. I was thinking, and you can let us know when you think the time is right. Just a couple of days ago, I was using IPython Perl, and I was realizing IPython Perl has an extension, which is the little clusters tab. And we obviously don't want to kind of hard bake that into the UI the way we had done it in the past. That should be basically the standalone extension that we provide with IPython Perl. But since that is one of the projects that we officially maintain, it's a good candidate for porting it. So, but you can let us know when you think the time is right to play with that one.
Right. Any time between 3 days and 10 months, I'll finish this.
All right. Rooting for the earlier part of that estimate.
Yes.
Right. I think on the agenda, Jamie, you're next. Anything for the group that you want to bring up for the group?
Just that I presented on Jupyter Lab over the weekend at PyData in SF. It was a great conference. Lots of interesting talks on, these Python conferences are mostly how people are using the Jupyter Notebook in different ways. And some good questions about the demo. One question came up about leaflet, and if you could switch out the base map for that. So that's probably a good answer to have in your pocket if you show the maps functionality. And that's about it.
Cool.
Oh, thanks for the slides, Jason, Steve, and Brian. And for Brian for doing some of the demo. Useful.
Cool.
Great job, Jamie.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, I heard great things about it. I'm glad it went well. I didn't make it to PyData because I was at as Thomas was joking, I was at the other Bay Area data conference over the weekend, which is KDD. Gave a talk at the BDPM workshop at KDD. I left a link if anyone's interested. That was kind of a combination of Jupyter material and kind of the broader picture, diversity and challenges in that community. Great audience, actually. It's a really neat program. Something that I think we can consider for. I think NumFocus has been doing a great job in that regard. But this was a very well structured workshop focusing on what, as the title says, broadening participation to other communities in this space. And they did a very thorough job. They had to. Oh, shoot. Sorry. This is. we get basically weird, random, spammy incoming calls here, organized with students who were there for 2 days and had lots of guidance and support. Their travel costs were covered, and there was an entire kind of training program for them to engage, including tutorials and mentorship. And so I think it's a good model to keep in mind as our community grows in how to approach the problem. So if anyone's interested in that topic, let me know, and I have some contacts with the organizers. Brian on the agenda. Brian, anything for the group?
Yeah.
Welcome back.
And sort of diving back in after a few weeks away from active work on the project. I also was at PyData SF. I gave a talk about Altair. One thing that I think is relevant for the broader community is that we're thinking about possibly doing a Jupyter Day in New York City. I'll be out in New York City for some of the fall in September and October, and Jason Grout and others are interested in seeing if we can pull that off. We did one last fall on pretty short notice, so we may think about that. And then it's very likely that everyone else knows about this and that I've just not been plugged in, but I just saw classroom.github.com. It looks like GitHub has added some actual specific features for managing assignments with GitHub. And so it may be something we can look into for integration with NBGrader.
I had seen it. I haven't played with it, so I don't know specifically how well it works and how they're addressing one of the perennial issues with distributing content on GitHub is the moment the person receiving the content makes changes in place, which is a very natural thing to do. They have a copy of it, they make changes, and new content arrives. Now you're sort of hitting full-blown the idea of merging and conflicts and whatnot. And I don't know how they're addressing that, because it's kind of an inherent part of the Git workflow.
I think this is more focused on assignments, not course content.
Okay, but I've seen that problem even with assignments. I mean, unless you really manage kind of a separate copy and whatnot, if you make updates to any of the material that's related to an assignment and the student has touched it in any way already, I mean, I've had that problem even with stuff that you would think of as an assignment when I distributed it via Git. So I'd love to see what they've done on that problem.
They're also requiring a crazy amount of permission on all your repository. Like they basically want to access everything.
Okay.
Of course, they're GitHub, so they already have access to everything, but it's...
Yeah, no, definitely worth seeing what they've done.
Yeah, I'm playing with it now, and it's actually a completely separate web app.
Okay. Cool. Well, if you play with it, let us know how it goes.
I'll do that right now.
Grant. So I don't. Grant, were you here? Brian, did you have anything else? That seemed to be the end of your notes.
That's it.
Cool. Grant, I don't know if you were here last week, but if you were, I wasn't, and so I failed to welcome you. You're muted. I'm sorry, Grant, you're muted.
I wasn't here either. I had a doctor's appointment during the meeting.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome to the meeting. I think it's the first time we meet face to face. I don't know. Have you been introduced to the rest of the team already or not?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I've attended some meetings in the past, but good to see you, Fernando.
Likewise.
I don't have a ton to report this week. I've been focused on closing out open PRs on the notebook repo. So I've been working with Matthias and Min and some others on that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we've almost closed out all of the 4.3 milestone PRs, open PRs, which is good. I think we still have a couple issues that we should address, before thinking about doing a release, but we're getting closer to that, so that's good.
Great. Thanks. Delighted to have you on. Matthias, anything for the group?
Yeah, I will just continue that. You're doing a really, really good work. I'm really happy to see things moving forward, and you definitively have fresh ideas and improvements to the workflow that are really welcome, and that even if the legacy notebook would make development much easier. And it's great. And I was wondering if we should do some more broad introduction so that the community knows you at some point. That's probably something we want to think with Brian. And at some point, we want to do that for Mike as well. Because I know that one of the comments I had a few years ago is that people don't know who is actually working on the notebook and who is not. And many people are not on the mailing list. And so having a blog post to say, hey, we have this person who works half-time, who works full-time, I think we should even maybe catch back to some of our other contributors.
Yeah, we've been sending emails to the mailing list, but that's a good point. That maybe when we bring someone on board, instead of just sending that as an email, we should just make it a quick blog post. Yeah. When you came on board, what I did was I sent only an email to the mailing list. I don't think we did that as a blog post.
And I think like one blog post every couple of weeks and catch back on you, Jimmy, and everyone to say, hey, this is a person. They're here. They're working. They're for you. They're for us. Here is their role, what they're doing, what they will be doing. Can be extremely helpful because then when people came and ask questions, they know who is answering. And I think that would be extremely helpful. And now that you've been here for a few weeks, you're starting to have your marks. And I think it could be a good time in a couple of weeks to do that. We might want to start with you because you were there before.
Sure, and I do have a bio from Grant, so we can get an announcement on the mailing list shortly.
Yeah, what we can do is just when people arrive, send a quick email to the list, which is where the more regular people hang out, and then after some period goes by, and in your case that period may have been a little long because this idea just came up, but we can in general just wait a few weeks, give people a chance to kind of settle in, and then make a slightly broader announcement on the blog. That's probably a good plan. Yeah. Are you okay with that idea, Grant?
Yeah, I think so. Sounds good to me.
Okay. Cool. Great.
Otherwise, for me, lots of boring stuff that are long-term things for IPython 6 that I have to tackle now. Nothing that I need to really discuss with the group.
Gino, if you're online, anything that you want to bring up for the team?
Not really. Nothing beyond what's on the hackpad.
Okay, perfect. And Sylvan, good to see you. You seem to be, you're not muted, but we're not hearing you. I don't see the mute icon, but there's no noise. There's no sound coming from you. Nope, no sound. We see your mouth moving, but we can't hear you.
It's a mic that only accepts English, and he's starting to speak French.
Okay, well, we'll give you a minute to see if you can sort it out, but yeah, we can't hear you right now. I just remembered I did send an email to the mailing list about the notion of getting a little bit more structured into teams, and so I think we want to try to move forward with that. Let us know if you have any thoughts on the mailing list. And obviously, as I said, it's preliminary. It's a first draft. Don't get pissed at me if I said something about what area you might be in that you're not totally happy with. We can talk about it. I tried to both ingest and Jamie did all the hard work, but we tried to decide together with Brian kind of how to lay out things, taking your input into account, but also looking at everything that's on the table, trying to not leave key gaps. And so let's move forward with that. But Sylvan, you were the last one, and so we're sort of coming to the end of the meeting. I don't know if we are going to get your voice today.
What about Mike?
Mike just joined, but there is nothing on the notes. We can check with Mike. Mike, do you have anything that you want to bring up for the team?
Oh, you're muted too.
You're muted. Hey, can someone else speak to see if it's us? Anyone?
Who's not muted?
Who's not muted? Can someone? Yeah. Okay. Okay. We hear Grant. So, and Nick. Yep. Okay.
Oh, that's maybe because Mike and Sylvan both joined after the recording started.
I doubt it. I mean, we've never seen that problem before. Anyway, we're not going to be debugging BlueJeans right now. Nope. We can't hear Mike and we can't hear Sylvan, and we're not going to start debugging this right now. So anyone else have anything last minute? And otherwise, sorry about Sylvan and Mike. Your notes, Sylvan, speak by notes on the hackpad this time around. All right.
Do we have any big releases coming up or minor releases coming up? It sounds like there's a 4.3 milestone that people are working on. Is there anything else that's close?
Thomas did IPython 5.1.
Okay.
So that's out.
Cool.
And it fixed quite a few bugs.
Was there any sort of announcement that went out on that? No.
It was not a huge release. It was mostly bug fixes. It was slightly bigger than bug fix. That's why we did a 5.1 and not a 5.01. But it was just on the mailing list. People will upgrade. It will fix bugs.
Yeah, I guess it's we need to find a good balance, and since we are trying to move to making releases very frequently, then having which means the release process needs to be simple enough to make it very low overhead. How to find a way to make a quick announcement as part of that is sufficient to get the message out, but that doesn't become a big burden of like, well, the release is 5 minutes, but I have to spend 3 hours writing a big blog post about it. Then people are not going to. Right. No.
So yeah, I think Min did release. I don't remember which one. One of the Jupyter clients or something like that, which also still is a small one. Grant said earlier that you want to get 4.3 soonish when it's ready. And I want to get Mike to release NB-Convert 5 in probably a month-ish. Time to polish some issues and have Mike go through the release process. Have someone who is new to the release process go through the notes and say, hey, this I don't understand, this is not clear. And automatize that a bit more.
That's good. I thought I saw Anna join too.
Yep, I'm here.
Anna, anything that you want to share?
Hello.
I don't have any updates.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any updates to share at this point. Thanks, though.
Cool. Thank you, Anna. Just reading from the chat, since Mike and Sylvan are both having audio problems, Mike mentioned that he was at a conference at CoxSci, and there were good potential collaborations about the notebook and publication issue that he's going to be working on. So great, thanks for letting us know, Mike. And Sylvan did bring something up. Nick, this might be perhaps for you, or and I think from the team you're maybe one of the more connected to Anaconda, but Sylvan was bringing up that in the latest Anaconda release, the version of IPyWidgets that got included is really, really old. And we don't know if that was an oversight or an accident, but it might be if you can look into it or talk to Sylvan and find out what's going on.
It's basically boils down to the conf thing. They're just not comfortable running anything with post links in Anaconda itself. And we discussed getting IPyWidgets into that main nbxconf magic pre-existing package that ships at Jupyter, but that did not happen. So,
I'm sorry. You said that the what's the issue with the cons?
Config.
Oh, the config, not the cons. Okay, the config stuff. Okay.
So, yeah, I believe it was an oversight that it is just those 3 or 4, whatever, because we had discussed having widgets in there. But I mean, the other path forward is that we can actually use build time config files that are in a predictable location and have them loaded. That's that's really that's what Anaconda needs, right? We had done all that work around making stuff work for Conda, and we hadn't taken Anaconda into account.
Okay. Might be worth discussing it with Sylvan. You can see a couple messages on the chat. All right.
One last thing.
Yeah.
Jamie is giving a talk about Jupyter this weekend at PyBay. Come and see us. There are still a few tickets left.
Oh yes, PyBay is sort of the Bay Area PyCon family local conference that is going to happen next weekend, not the last weekend, was PyData. And Jamie will be speaking again. And so if you have friends and family in the Bay Area who like Python, send them over to PyBay. All right, everyone, I'm going to stop the recording.